Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 3 Yards in a Cloud of Dust NFL podcast. I'm your host, Josh, and with me, as always, my co host, Jonathan.
Hi, guys.
So, today's our Week 3 recap. Another wild week in the NFL. A few upsets here and there, some crazy heart attack games towards the end of the week. I know that Raiders and Dolphins game was a lot more. Intense than it should have been.
3 field goals in OT. How does that work? Because both teams scored on the first drives each.
Yeah. You remember they changed the rules a few years ago, right? So it used to be that the first team that scored, no matter whether it was a touchdown or a field goal, would win the game. But because so many teams were simply going down the field, kicking a field goal and ending the game, they said if you kick a field goal now on your first possession, then the other team automatically gets the ball to try and do the same or score a touchdown.
Yeah.
So,
your defense got lucky because they let by a couple big plays on that drive.
Well, here's the thing: it never should have gotten to overtime in the first place because it was the fact that Carr threw that pick six early on in the game that gave the Dolphins the 7-0 lead,
and that almost could have costed you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they let the Dolphins hang around. There was no reason for that. Not to mention they missed a crucial extra point that would have also kept it from going to overtime.
Yeah.
And it was funny too. If Carlson makes that field goal or that extra point, then the game ends with the exact same score that it had last year, just with the teams reversed. It would have ended 26-25, which is exactly how it ended last year.
But whoever had both kickers got some extra points.
Yeah, because Carlson made a couple of 50-plus yarders.
Oh yeah,
especially the one to win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, that's beside the point. Now we're getting into our actual picks for the week. And first up was the Thursday night game with the Panthers at the Texans, and that was actually surprisingly. The Panthers had a really good game. Their defense just went off.
Oh yeah, it's like we knew the Panthers had a really good defense on the roster, but who knew it was actually going to be this good?
Yeah, because the Texans didn't actually play bad.
No,
having a rookie quarterback.
They actually played extremely well. And I think out of the rookies who played week 3, I think he looked the best.
Yeah.
In week 3.
Excuse me. But yeah, Davis Mills, he impressed me this last week. He came in and played the best he could in a bad situation.
Oh yeah. And that looks good for him.
Yeah.
And it really shows an upside to the Texans. So that's definitely a big plus.
Yeah, and of course, you and I both picked the Panthers to win that game, though.
Yeah, and
we expected it to be closer, though, but the Panthers did emerge victorious, 24-9. So we both got that one right.
Yep.
So next up is our early game from Sunday, which is Washington football team at the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
This one did not go quite the way I thought it was.
No, it ended up being a bit closer.
No, not at all. Not at all. It did not. It was not nearly as close as I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought it was going to be a bit closer. 43-21. Not anywhere close to what I thought it was going to be.
No, but it's like you got to remember it's Josh Allen and the Bills.
Yeah.
And he is a new type of quarterback, especially standing at 6'6".
Yeah, and of course, he's got the ability to get out of the pocket and run and make things happen with his feet. So he's basically a taller version of Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
In many ways, or I guess you would say Kyler Murray's a shorter version of Josh Allen because Allen's been there longer. What can I say? Josh Allen he's improved every year he's been in the league, and he's made leaps and strides every year. It's
like
That win last week against the Dolphins was crucial to getting the Bills' offense going because they looked stagnant in Week 1 against Pittsburgh. And then I guess, having a team like the Dolphins to beat up on is exactly what they needed to get themselves going.
I guess so.
I mean, I know Allen, he threw for a lot more yardage and, of course, 5 total touchdowns this week. Where, as last week, he did throw 3 touchdowns or 3 or 4 touchdowns, but he didn't even break 200 yards passing.
No.
But they got the running game going last week. And so they were able to build upon that this week against Washington, which is surprising because Washington's had a really good run defense.
Yeah, and
through the first couple of weeks.
And the Bills figured out how to break that down and be able to get a good run going.
Yeah. And, of course, everything was working for them in this game. And Washington did their best to sit there and try to put up a fight, but it just wasn't good enough.
No, it was just too much firepower.
Yeah.
It was definitely going to be... I was hoping it was going to be close, so like you said, but...
Yeah, and of course I made the mistake of picking Washington for this one, but you picked the Bills, so you got it right on that one.
Yep.
Beginner's luck.
That's the bull. you didn't counter to see having the Bills defense actually going off.
That, and I expected the Washington defense to hold the Bills to less points. That was the biggest key. I expected them to play a lot better than what they did, and it doesn't mean that Washington doesn't have a good defense or doesn't have a good team in general. It's just that Buffalo has a much better team.
Yeah, and it's like I expected.
Still not going to win the Super Bowl though.
I actually expected Josh Allen to throw the ball more.
Well, he did this last week.
I know.
So.
But more than. Instead of running the ball as many times as they did, throwing it a little bit more than that.
Yeah, but he did. He's so one notable, real notable thing to take away from this game is he's the first player in Buffalo history to have 4 passing touchdowns, no interceptions, and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah,
all in one game,
which is really good for him.
Well, yeah, it definitely was. Next up was our Sunday late game with the Bucks at the Rams, and that was a thriller, even though it didn't start out as one. It started out as a defensive battle. Nobody scored through like the first quarter and a half.
Yeah,
it took them until halfway through the second quarter to actually get some points on the board.
Yeah, but it's like yes, the first half can be slow, but as long as the second half is entertaining, no one cares.
Yeah, and of course the Rams emerged victorious, 34-24. And I think what it was Tom Brady threw a key interception late in the game.
Yeah. That
allowed the Rams to take a bigger lead, and it was too much for Brady and his beat-up offense.
Yeah, so unfortunately it cost them because he didn't have Gronk about midway through the third quarter. He lost him.
And they didn't have Antonio Brown at all. So they were left with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin for pretty much their biggest weapons.
And they were able to figure out how to lock those 2 players down.
Yeah, once that happened, it was like I said, one of the key factors that cost them the game.
Yep.
But don't worry, the Bucks will more than likely rebound this next week, especially going up against Tom Brady's former team in the New England Patriots.
Oh yeah.
So I'm hoping that's a good game, but I can easily see it becoming a blowout.
Yeah, but blowout going to the Bucks.
Yeah. Now you and I both picked the Bucks in this one.
Yeah, so we lost this one because of that, and because we both expected it to be close, and Tom Brady not to.
And it was close. It was only a 10-point game.
Yeah.
We didn't expect it to not go in Tom Brady's favor with how he's been playing.
Yeah. Because he's been playing extremely well the last couple weeks.
But you know what? Stafford played a lot better in that game.
Oh, yeah.
He not only, obviously, he's got that relationship developed between him and Cooper Kupp, but he spread the ball around more. He got it to guys like Higbee and Woods, and they got their scores. They got their yardage and their scores. He made use of all of his weapons in this last game.
But Cup was the key person that they just didn't know how to stop.
That's going to be a huge matchup for the rest of the season. Whoever has him in their fantasy league is just going to be scoring points like crazy. Oh, shut up.
If you guys don't know, I was pumping my fist because I have him
got
in both
Cooper
my leagues.
Kupp in our fantasy league together. Yeah. Next would be the Sunday night game with the Packers at the 49ers. And that was another thriller.
Yeah, and
that was back and forth all night.
Garoppolo actually looked good.
Yeah, one of our things was we were worried about how well the Niners offense would perform. It stepped up.
Yeah, and
they stepped up big time.
It's like, and especially at the end of the first half, Lance ran in for a touchdown to give 49ers some life.
Yeah, and what too is they played really well in that second half, and they looked like they were going to win it. It's just the problem is that last touchdown that they got to go ahead, 28-27. They left too much time on the clock for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
and he made him pay.
Yep. It's like, and Aaron Rodgers has been able to prove everyone wrong. It's like week 1 was a fluke.
Yeah, I told you that. I absolutely told you that.
Yeah, and it showed through the last 2 weeks now, and I think it especially showed against this week.
Yeah, and of course you went with my advice and you picked the Packers with me this week. Unlike the week before when you decided to not take my advice.
Who knew that he was actually going to go off? Because
I did.
It could have been a repeat of week 1.
It
really could have been.
I did, and I was doing my best to tell you that that's exactly what was going to happen, and you didn't want to listen.
But then we get into the Monday night game, Eagles at Cowboys.
Now this was another game where we thought it was going to be a lot closer.
Yeah, and it ended up being pretty much a blowout.
Yeah. It was close for a little bit, but the Cowboys very quickly, they just ran away with it, especially in that second half.
Yeah, and because I saw one play where it's like the West called it a no touchdown. It was going to be turnover on downs or at the goal line, and it ended up being, or it was like third down or something, and I think they fumbled it or something, and
I don't remember.
But it was really close, but it ended up flipping over to the Eagles, having the score at 7-7. So I'm like, hey, this may actually still be a close game, and then Cowboys still took off with it.
Yeah.
Even after losing that.
Well, the whole thing is this shows to me that Hurts is not ready yet.
He didn't play bad. He played well. But he also
he didn't play bad. You're right.
But
he didn't play bad.
The Cowboys' defense is still a actually decently strong defense.
They've been getting better every week, and they've been making key plays when they need it.
Yeah. So and this week it showed. It's like the key plays they need to continue making.
Yeah.
And they continue to do it.
Yeah. And so as you've been able to ascertain, the Cowboys won that one, 41-21. So another 20-point game.
And we both picked the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So
we expect it to be closer, though. But, yeah, we both picked the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So that means I went 3-2 this week. You went 4-1.
And it was the one game we teamed up on.
Yeah, and that's the second time in 2 weeks, though, that we've both been wrong on a pick, though, on a game that probably the other team should have won.
Yeah, and which I'm still surprised about that the Bucs didn't pull this one out.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I'm not so much surprised that the Rams managed to win it thanks to their defense, or I think I'm just more surprised that their offense played as well as it did, or played better than Tampa Bay's offense.
If you had Stafford in your fantasy, you got some points.
Oh yeah, yeah. Basically, if you had Matt Stafford or
Cooper Kupp,
Josh Allen this week, you got some major points.
But if you had Stafford and Kupp, you had a lot of points coming your way.
Yeah. To recap the rest of the league.
But that puts both of our records this season right now. You at 12-3 and me at 11-4.
Yeah, so we're separated by only a game so far this this season. So, but recapping the rest of the league, we had the Titans beating the Colts 25-16. You had the Falcons emerging over the Giants 17-14. The Chargers stunned the Chiefs 30-24. The Bengals topped the Steelers 24-10.
Yeah, the Chiefs one was definitely. I was hoping it was gonna be flipped, but their defense and offense were just not there this week.
Obviously, the Browns just utterly destroyed the Bears,
which is
26-6.
Which is not a surprise, but
7 sacks.
7 sacks, but not only that, it's like the rookie Justin Fields may not even be playing this week.
Yeah, he did suffer a little bit of an injury, so he's questionable going
towards
into this week.
Towards the end of that game, he injured his hand.
Yeah. So they may be looking at Nick Foles to start this next week. But right now, all 3 quarterbacks are in consideration for this week. That means Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, and Nick Foles.
And I don't think they're going to bring Dalton in. I think they're going to have him hold him out one more week.
Yeah,
I think they're going to hold out.
I think that would be the smart thing.
I think they're going to hold out Justin Fields, too, because he is still a young quarterback. So throwing in Nick Foles would probably be the best bet.
I think if they see some improvement from Fields, they might give him a go.
Yeah, but
obviously, if they don't see any major improvement in the hand by the end of the week, then yeah, it'll be Foles start.
So it will more likely they'll keep Dalton out this week and have Foles start. And if for some reason Foles get injured, they'll probably bring in Fields to continue.
Yeah, and then so for the next game, which is the Ravens and the Lions, something we forgot to highlight in our news, and that's Justin Tucker won the game for the Ravens on a record-breaking 66-yard field goal.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Justin Tucker. That was impressive. And the fact that it hit off the crossbar and then went in instead of bouncing back out, that's some luck right there, man. That is raw power combined with a little bit of luck.
Yeah, and it happened because Detroit is. I don't think it's like the other records. I don't think were in Detroit, will they?
No. I think most of the other ones had been set in Mile High Stadium in Denver.
Yeah, so being in Detroit, which is a low altitude, and being able to.
Not to mention it's a dome stadium.
Yeah, so that. Having that much power behind your kick to get it to go through, you gotta have some serious power. Because let's say if he was in the stadium that all the records were in, I guarantee he probably would have been able to hit that 70, especially with the wind going with him.
Yeah, if he'd had the wind, yeah. But obviously no wind in a dome stadium.
And hitting a solid 66, because will that ball hit? It hit the exact 66-yard mark.
Yeah. So that means he hit it exactly 66 yards, and then it bounced the extra few inches he needed to get it through.
Yeah.
But next up, we have the Saints, who rebounded this week and defeated the Patriots 28-13. The Cardinals came back and won their game over the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-19.
Which that one wasn't really much of a surprise. Jacksonville does not have a great defense.
The New York Jets looked terrible again this week as they lost to the Broncos 26-0. The Seahawks looked impressive again, the Vikings looked impressive against the Seahawks this week, winning 30-17. However, they may have lost Dalvin Cook for this next week game, so they might end a little differently.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it for the rest of the recap. And of course the Raiders beat the Dolphins in an overtime thriller 31-28.
Which is what I was saying. It's like 3 total field goals with in OT. 2 by the Raiders, 1 by the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Both of them scoring on the first drive.
Yeah.
Which I don't think neither one of us have actually seen.
Well, yeah, you mean in overtime, yeah.
In OT, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of us has seen that yet, to have both teams score and then still get the other team to have a second possession.
Yeah. But anyways, that is our recap for week 3. Join us tomorrow for our preview of week 4. We're glad that we were able to kind of get back on schedule this week after having a hectic schedule last week. Wasn't great trying to find time to sit there and try to fit those 2 episodes in, but we wanted to make sure we got them for you. But this week it was a lot better. Before we go, of course, we want to continue to highlight the fact that September is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. We know times are hard, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. It's tough right now. People are struggling. You may be one of those people that are struggling. Excuse me. So if you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, please don't stay silent. Right now on the screen is the number for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. There are people ready on the other side of those phones to talk to you and help you deal with and get through your issues. They are trained and ready to help you for that. Also, too, we're still running the hashtag One Conversation Can Save a Life. So if we could get that going, that would be great, just to bring more awareness to the fact that suicide rates have elevated over the last year and a half because of everything that's going on. People losing their jobs, the pandemic. It's a tough and scary time right now.
And it's like because of the pandemic, we lost multiple young kids.
Yeah.
And that because of it, and it's not good.
Yeah, but we want you to know you guys are not alone. There are people out there that care and love you and are really and are ready to help you deal with the issues.
Yeah. So
please don't stay silent. Speak up and know that, like I said, you are cared for and you are loved and you are not alone. But with that, we want to thank everybody for joining us today. We hope that you continue to go with us on our journey here with the show. And until the next one, we'll see you later.
Have a good day.